first.
All right. You're listening to WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM. And we have here in the studio with us, we do not have Ozzy Osbourne, alas, because he also is gone, along with Mark Cameron. I'm sure they're having a blast right now. That was off Attention, Black Sabbath, Volume 2, Side 1, Sweet Leaf was the title of the track. And now we're back to Zak Mucha. Yay! Thanks again, Zach, for coming. We were talking about who you are. Mm-hmm. You're defining yourself for our audience. So I read a little biography off of your book earlier. And now you're going to tell us who you are from your perspective.
Okay. Like I said, a Buddhist would either have a short answer or a very long one, and and I could just explain what I've been doing with myself. I'm a psychoanalyst in private practice here in Chicago in the Edgewater neighborhood. And like you said, I'm the president of the Chicago Center for Psychoanalysis, wow, which is, a training and educational program for therapists in Chicago. And we just had our 40th anniversary last year.
Congratulations!
Yeah. But the idea of psychoanalysis as a treatment is changing. It's getting more acceptable again. There were a few articles earlier in the year that Freud is cool again.
Oh, really? That's funny.
It's a surprise, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I say all that to say this was not my life plan at all, to be a therapist or especially a psychoanalyst. Uh-huh. I wanted to be a writer for a very long time, and it was a lot of years of very bad writing, and and doing a lot of manual labor because I also didn't want to go to school, which is a bad plan to be a writer.
Oh, yes.
But I had my own biases, and
yes,
figured I will figure this out on my own.
Yes.
Which meant I spent a long time hanging sheetrock and loading moving trucks. And,
sure.
Doing what you do to pay the rent.
Keep body and soul together. Sure. Yeah.
Learning how to write. Mm-hmm. And and I was never brave enough to really write poetry because the book I have in front of me is the last poetry book, the most recent one, and I was never brave enough to write poetry. I was writing all sorts of other stuff.
Tell me the title of this book.
The title of the book is The Ambulatorium, and this is a psychoanalytic reference because the book itself was actually my graduation project from the Chicago Center for Psychoanalysis, and I studied to be a psychoanalyst with that organization. And they're pretty freeform, like the radio station.
Nice.
They want people to be creative. We want people to bring art and creativity and other disciplines into psychoanalysis.
Beautiful.
It shouldn't be this isolated thing that's elite, which is the stereotypical eliteness of the field made me never want to be a therapist in the first place. So I really like that. To graduate after years and years of study and analysis and supervision and all that, I was able to write a book of poetry. And I wouldn't have done it at all if it wasn't for my own analysis, which you have to do to become a psychoanalyst. You have to lay on the couch yourself 3 times a week for years and years and years, learning about your own mind. And I was never brave enough to write poetry until at some point in analysis, it just, like we were talking outside earlier, it was like just one day a little line was in my head and I didn't know what it was, but it ended up being the start of poetry. But it was like, getting hit in the head and waking up and finding out you could play a little bit of piano all of a sudden. And that's how I started writing poetry.
Funny.
But it was just, analysis helped me get brave enough to try.
That's good. Good.
But this has all been really accidental. In a recent interview, someone asked me, what would you tell your younger self if you could go back and tell your younger self something? Well, I said I was doubtful my younger self would listen to me, but if I would, I would want to go back and tell myself nothing, absolutely nothing is going to turn out how you plan, and that's perfectly fine. That's okay. Your plans are meant to fall apart, and you see what happens.
Yes. Okay, so who are the voices, poetic or clinical, that echo most in your work today?
The voices, I mean, it's a strange, it's a strange combination. I mean, the poet Charles Simic, he's always there. I really cut my teeth with a lot of crime novels when I was younger. And crime writers like Andrew Vax, Dashiell Hammett, and there's beautiful lines of poetry in Hammett. Just in the Flitcraft story itself, and Ken Bruin, who, but then also Nelson Algren, and then there's analysts who they're writing, and they recognize that a good psychoanalytic session is like a poem where we don't really know. We start off the hour not knowing what we're going to say or where this is going to lead, but somehow at the end it sort of ties to the beginning of what we were saying, and we surprise ourselves. And that's like the ideal session, where we learn something new about ourselves. Unfortunately, sometimes it's a horrible thing to learn, and we have to deal with that. But
it takes some courage too. Mm-hmm. I think it just takes courage to be able to create. And talking about that, what are the emotional consequences of telling the truth in a world that often rewards denial?
It depends if you want to be accepted by the world or not. I mean, if we look at our culture, and people ask a lot, is this normal? I want to be normal. And there is no normal. Even if there is, why do you want to be normal in this culture, in this society? I was thinking this morning about the Elon Musk quote, which he said to millions of Joe Rogan followers, that, and I'm paraphrasing, but he said, the greatest weakness of Western civilization is empathy. It's the sociopathic.
Whoa!
The sociopathic measure that, your empathy is really going to slow down capitalism.
Mm. In Denmark, there's classes on empathy. It's that important, Mm-hmm. So, I beg to differ.
Sure. But, I think we have to challenge this. And
yes.
I think that's the big part of, poetry itself and psychoanalysis. They do not fit well into capitalism.
Very good. With that being said, the beach poets don't really fit into capitalism either, because there's no money to be made.
Yeah.
It's just a way of meeting people in the real and exchanging ideas in the here and now.
Yeah. And you asked me about the book, The Ambulatorium.
Yes, The Ambulatorium.
I forgot to explain what the actual word means.
Yes.
The Ambulatorium was, psychoanalysis at the beginning, 100 years ago, was very radical. The Ambulatorium was a free clinic for the working class in Vienna. So people could go get psychoanalysis. That's part of the origins of psychoanalysis. And, of course, when it came to America and got medicalized and got turned into a big business, the first thing they did was get rid of all that stuff for the working class and the working poor. Mm-hmm. And it became this thing for the rich people. Mm-hmm. And by the way, the Ambulatorium in Vienna, not for nothing, the Nazis burned it down.
Aye.
So, which is what Nazis do to this kind of thing.
To human beings.
Well, empathy is the weakness, right?
No, I disagree.
Can I say something about this?
Please do.
I just wanted to share this with you all because I was thinking about ambulatorium and what it means, right? Mm-hmm. And I thought the analogy I had was so a sanatorium was a basically a crazy place where they put people to make them sane. Mm-hmm. So I thought as an ambulatorium, what is that? A place where you get a frozen place, a stuck place, a box where you put people to make them move.
No, I
know it's not that. But anyway, it just seemed to fit a little bit.
I don't know the etiology of the word, but I always took it as this is to help you move through the world, not keep you locked in the sanitarium.
Right.
So where do you think your writing begins? Does it begin in your mind, in your body, or the unconscious? Where do you were talking about how that first line of poetry came to you, this line came to you, and it took you, how did that happen?
I know. I remember it came from something I visually saw, but I mean, I don't know if I even have a consistent answer for that, because some of the poems are from half a remembered childhood memory, or even a sense from childhood, or a sense from any moment of the day that I'm trying to figure out myself. So I guess from the unconscious, like you're saying.
Yes.
Where we were talking about what does, what is poetry? And I think it's us trying to understand some sense and to put words to it.
Yes.
Of something we've not put, something that's not so simple to put into prose.
Right. Yes, I agree. Okay, so when did you first recognize the power of metaphor in both healing and in harm, the power of metaphor? You have a gift for metaphor. You should read some of your poetry so we understand what I'm talking about.
Okay, yeah. A metaphor keeps us in the world. I mean, we were talking about earlier. I mean, Chiron and I were talking outside just about our experience as social workers working on the street. And, like we were talking about psychosis. And psychosis is like, there's delusions and conspiracy theories and hallucinations. But the idea of psychosis is an inability to make metaphor. I mean, if you think about it, if I'm telling you my delusions, my hallucinations, it's not just babble. I'm really trying to explain myself to you, but I don't have the ability to use metaphor. So however I feel about something, I am telling you that's what it is. That is what the world is. If the CIA is after me, I know they're after me, and I have to cut all the electrical cords in the house and cover the windows. I'm saying, obviously, I feel persecuted. And now we have to really dig into the person's history to see what is this persecution they feel. But, you might know this, but, arguing a delusion with someone, you lose every time.
Yes.
I mean, it's not an argument you're going to win.
It's hard.
You just become part of the delusion, because this is, they're trying to describe an emotional state, and you're telling them, no, you don't feel like that. It doesn't work. I mean, have you ever told someone, don't cry, and they stopped? It usually makes them cry worse, right?
I've never, even with my sons, when they were crying, I would sing REM, Everybody Hurts to Them.
Then
well, they cried.
You're
I'm a
wiser
little
than most
different,
people.
a little different mothering technique.
I like when someone says "calm down." Calm down. Like nothing is going to get you more irate than someone telling you to calm down.
Yes. My uncle was screaming at my son. He was like 3, but my uncle was screaming, "Will you stop crying? Don't coddle him." And and I was like, it's okay, you can cry, get it out of your system. And I didn't want him to be like, my father was like bottled up.
Sure.
He was so bottled up because he was raised in a generation of men don't cry, and he lost a baby brother, and so he had all this unresolved grief. He'd never been able to address that profound grief that he had, and so it just kept on coming back throughout his lifetime, and made him incapable of being able to deal with grief throughout his life, and that makes really hard for you.
Certainly.
And I wanted to make things a little easier for my sons.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're trying to convey there with that toxic male thing where you can't cry. Boys don't cry.
Sure.
I don't think that's right. I really tried to challenge gender norms. So I get what you're saying there. Thank you. Now I'm saying my little thing. I'm talking too much. I'm supposed to be interviewing you. Why does poetry still matter?
I really like the quote from Fannie Howe. I saw this right before I believe she died recently. I saw it. She said and I'm paraphrasing because I don't memorize that well. She said the point of poetry is to show that life is worth living because it's not worth living. And that contradiction of it's for me, she's talking about Hank Williams, right? I mean, Hank Williams writes a song about being miserable, and we feel it. We know what he's talking about, and he's writing about our lives. And that poetry is supposed to make that connection that, yes, whatever this poem is, I feel it. There is someone on the planet who has an understanding of what I feel. And that's what the most amazing art can do.
Yes.
And keep us connected.
Yes, it keeps us connected. Absolutely. So speaking of which, would you like to read one of your poems for us? I'd be really grateful for that. Thank you.
Do I have to watch my language on the show?
Yes, you do.
Then
you can't. If you have
you've just killed half my repertoire.
Swear, you're going to have to just think of a more creative way to articulate it.
Not a problem. I'll read one from the book. Since we're talking about therapy and psychoanalysis, as a therapist, a lot of people ask, or we ask ourselves even outside of therapy, why don't I remember so much of my childhood or parts of my childhood or any of my childhood? And there's a lot of reasons, and this poem is probably a really terrible reason why someone wouldn't remember a childhood, but it's called The Leopard-Spotted Bear. During the nights across a childhood, something happens, turning each and all into strangers. In the mornings, they always look the same, except for a tiny altered piece, a twitch, a crease, a tick, signified a break in continuity since sundown. Once, in the middle of the night, I saw a leopard-spotted bear lumbering through the house, his dark underside disappearing him as he rose to scratch his back against the door jamb by the kitchen phone. Lights would flash and roll outside my bedroom windows in the gangway on the switch nights. New family members kept replacing those from the day before, each a bit more foreign than the last. Sometimes months passed between the switches, but these incremental disconnections warned me to the lookalikes of daylight. Over time, I learned others came before me. I had an older brother I never met, and my little brother got switched 47 times before starting high school. By then, we were drinking Dad's Old Style with our cereal before class. Our conversation, nothing more than an intricate series of grunts and shrugs. The neighbors watched us wait for the bus like each morning was coincidence. Traces of shared memory splintered with every switch. Each replacement knew less than the one before. Divergence in linking metastasized. No one's hair looked right. Holidays, anniversaries, and birthdays were guided by sets of abandoned scripts that would never haunt the next household set. The school lunch lady let me into the older kids' library for books of 19th century demons and 1970s poltergeists. There were no revenants, and no one came back. The neighbors' dogs howled and jumped their fences to attack when the later versions of my dad mowed the lawn.
That's really sticking with me is the Old Style in cereal. I'm like, where was your mother? Oh my goodness. Very, it's really visceral. I'm really, it takes you there.
Good.
Yes. Thank you so much. So, how do you stay emotionally regulated?
You assume that I am, huh? I have good supports. I've had, I have a lovely wife. I have, family, loved ones. I had a very good analysis.
Oh, good. So that all helps keep you anchored.
Yeah,
that's good.
And the work is regenerative. I mean, you know, it is. There are days that are exciting.
Yes. Yes.
It's. Some days I walk out of the office and just sort of marvel at, wow, what a thing I get to do in the world.
Yes.
And
yes.
It's really a privilege to be
Yes.
trusted by people in this way.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Yeah. So how has being a psychoanalyst changed your relationship with language, memory, and narrative?
Oh, I mean, that's you know, that's such a huge part of the work, because you're listening all the time. You're listening in session, at least, you know. When I'm off the clock, but you're listening to the words people use and what they mean and what they mean to them. You know, like the word fine never means fine. You know, how are you doing? I'm fine. No, you're not. I mean, and it's not even you're not, but it's you know, it's literally helping someone find their language. What do they mean in these words and these strings of words that they use? And, you know, it's the hardest thing for any of us to take. You know, it's why I think we like poetry so much, to take just sort of the felt sense in our mind and to try to put it into words.
Oh, we got a call from the university police on the other line.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy. I hope we're not breaking any rules. Here we go. We'll put on a little song.
Put them on the air.
Here we go. Sorry to interrupt you. You're listening to WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM, and they're calling because the band is coming. So we got a live band coming up shortly after this interview with Zak Mucha and Chiron Kingfish, who's also in the studio with us today. Chiron is going to be hosting the Beach Poets because the founder is going to Alaska. So there will be no founder here for the next couple of weeks, but yay! Chiron and Zak are going to be carrying on the torch. And so Chiron had some questions for Zak, and let's go,
yeah,
Chiron.
Well, I was just really, you had said something about memory, and it just made me have another question.
Good.
Because you were talking about the why we don't remember our childhood, and a lot of times I think you're maybe pointing to, you know, trying to block certain experiences, like they're not pleasant, right?
Sure.
And I guess the flip question, I guess, is what causes people to hold on to so many memories? Is there like a flip to that where someone would have so many memories but be haunted by them sometimes, in good ways and in bad ways, but like...
Well, I mean, the simplest answer is the memories we hold on to are the ones that have valence, have importance to us. I mean, you bought a coffee recently somewhere?
Oh, not that recently anymore, but yeah.
Last time we went to a coffee shop.
Sure, yeah.
What did the barista look like?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's not important, right? Unless it was someone you personally knew. I mean, our memories hold on to the things that are important to us, the things that define us, good or bad. And a lot of stuff we don't remember that gets repressed. Yeah, we don't want this to define us, but it still does. I mean, just in that it's repressed and we act it out, like you and I were talking about earlier. We act out what we don't want to remember and work through.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. So, when do you feel most aligned with your purpose, both as a poet or a psychoanalyst?
I mean, it's just random moments. That it's nothing I could plan or schedule or say, all right, if I do this, it's just, like you write a line that clicks, that feels right. Or you're in session and there's a connection that surprises both you and the patient. Then it's like, all right, what I'm doing is worthwhile just for this little moment. I mean, and people say, again, really generally, I want to be happy. How do I be happy? It's not a state, it's not like going to the gym and saying, I want to learn how to bench press 325 pounds. And happiness is just this thing that just hits us every once in a while. I mean, so that's what I describe as happy. You remind me of it. Just, all right, having a purpose.
Yes. Purpose is really important. So who do you write for when you are most honest? Who do you write for?
I mean, I think my wife and a few other people, and some of them are not even alive anymore, but people in my mind that, all right, I want them to know I know this. And that's a great and terrible thing about poetry. I mean, I'll look at something I wrote a couple months later and I'll just cringe that, oh my God, I didn't know that was so personal. And I still like it, but I didn't mean to tell on myself so much.
Yes. I understand.
That's why I write it. So I tell on myself. That's exactly why I write it.
So what role does vulnerability play in both your poetry and your therapeutic practice?
And I think the same role it plays in the world. We have to be vulnerable to it. We have to feel it. And otherwise we are this isolated thing. And look, we start off talking about, our culture. And, so many people are taught, by our culture, we have to be productive, don't feel it, just keep feeling good. And it really devalues the idea of vulnerability. Vulnerability is the only way we connect with other people, is that we could feel them and they could feel us. And to be impervious to feeling, and not feeling good. I mean, we want that, but to feeling bad, I mean, we have to. We have to do it because it defines us. If I'm disappointed by something or someone, within that disappointment, it's very important because there's something I want. And I don't mean want like a hamburger or a Maserati. But these wants, define us. And that's so important. And I think it's why we see our country is turning fascist now, because so many of this crowd refuses to be vulnerable. It's I will be the alpha male, and the other is the toxic, non-human who we have to get out of this country.
Yes. Crazy.
It's a lot of very scared, fragile men running the country. And not just men. There's a couple of women at the top of that list too.
Yeah.
What about when like the positive, like this really, like the power of thinking which in the New Thought movement, which I think there's a lot of good there, but I think that sometimes it gets into this positivity that if I just change my thinking to positive and deny, and I think the tendency for some people, not everyone, but is to deny their own feelings that are maybe uncomfortable for them to deal with. So they just try to like not think about it. And it gets into this, what we were talking about earlier, where you just push it out of your mind, but then you're ruled by it in your patterns.
Exactly. I'm not a fan of positive thinking, and just we can't change how we feel about things, and we could deny how we feel, but we can't really change how we feel about things or other people. And I think this is really the hard work to acknowledge, all right, I don't like this. And people say, I'm supposed to like this. I should be grateful for, name a person, name a thing. I should be grateful for them. But, well, as soon as I'm saying I should be grateful, the unspoken part of that is I am not grateful.
I try so hard not to use the word should in my vocabulary.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where I learned that, but it's like I try really hard to if that comes into my mind,
Mm-hmm.
I work around it. And if I have somebody say it to me,
Mm-hmm.
I say, don't should on me.
Exactly, yeah.
So why do you choose to work at the intersection of art and analysis?
I think, like I said earlier, I don't know if I chose to do this. It's where I ended. I mean, obviously, I could have chosen something else, and I've done a lot of other things, but I think I'd be miserable. I mean, it just ended up, this is how I accidentally backwards stumbled into learning this is how I want to define myself. This is how I want to spend my time on Earth while I'm here.
Sure. So you're both helping others and creating this beautiful artwork. Your artwork is incredible. Your poetry is so wonderful. You have a couple other poems marked off there. You want to do one more?
Yeah, I'll do another. Let's see. I'll do one that's not in the book.
And you're bleeping out the cuss words.
I am purposefully taking ones with no bad language.
Thank you.
This is called Night Science. I'm just double checking to make sure the language is appropriate. Okay, Night Science. Day science is what they tell us we want and what we should want for maximum productivity and manifested potential, and to be certain of all outcomes before we even start to enhance gut biomes, clear brain fog, and grow hair exactly where we want it. As if a deck of cards could reshuffle itself into pristine, suite-by-suite numeric order after years of grubby handling and introjections from those who mark and shape us. For years, we didn't even know we had night science. We were told it was simply people barking like dogs at the cars going by. What we don't know keeps silent company with what we say we want. Take a house key and imprint it into a little brick of clay. That hollow of negative space defines the unknown that drives us beyond biological instinct. Night science says what we have been looking for to make us whole never existed in the first place. It says our national anthem should be replaced with the original Hank Williams version of I'll Never Get Out of This World Alive, and should be sung at every ball game and before the start of each school day.
All right.
Thanks.
Nice. Yeah. Night science. Night science. It's quite a juxtaposition right there. And especially the imagery in it. Wow. So when do you think is silence more powerful than words? Is silence ever more? I mean, you're talking about science. I'm like, silence.
Mm-hmm. I think silence is terribly important. I mean, it's important in therapeutic sessions. It's important just in our own lives. I mean, I do meditate in a Zen Buddhist practice, and it's quite a thing to sit for like 3 days, for hours, and to just be silent and be with your thoughts. And one of the greatest things that comes up is I see my own thoughts are not so serious. I don't have to get upset about them. I mean, I still do, but I don't have to. I mean, because it's the silence allows us to a little more space. So I think it's very important.
Yes, it is. How does your understanding of trauma inform your poetic choices?
I mean, I don't know if trauma and I mean, it must inform my poetic choices. I never thought of how the two
your
work
poetry
together.
is so dramatic.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
I mean, yeah, it probably does. I mean, trauma is the thing we are trying to work through. We're talking about, repeating what we don't acknowledge. It's like trauma dreams, right? The difference between a trauma dream and a nightmare. A nightmare is all the symbolism and metaphor. We are disguising what we know. So it's in a more acceptable form. The shark on the piano and, grandma's roller skating, all the absurd stuff, the surreal stuff that happens in a dream. But a trauma dream is not disguised. And that's the horrific thing about a trauma dream. It is what a person has already suffered just happening again at night. And trauma, the horrific thing about trauma is it defies chronology. And someone traumatized either by a one-time incident or by a relationship that's just like water dripping on a rock. That could be as horrific as any assault. Trauma feels like it's always happening and maybe never happened. And we don't know, where does this fit in my timeline? We don't know how it's impacting every relationship, impacting how we see the world. I mean, I just had a book come out about emotional abuse. And emotional trauma is just as bad as any other trauma.
So what is the title of your book on emotional abuse?
The book is called Emotional Abuse, A Manual for Self-Defense.
Self-defense. Oh, I like that.
And because I wanted the book not to be for psychoanalysts. I want this to be for normal people. I want this to actually be a thing that could be used. So it really is like self-defense, that the first step is understanding what hurts. Because without that knowledge, we're in danger all the time. Like we're talking about what we repress, what we tell ourselves that this shouldn't bother me. That's such a common inner thought, right?
Yes.
Well, if I'm saying this shouldn't bother me, it bothers me.
Yes, yes.
And this is what the emotional abuser tells you after they hurt you.
Wow. So when did this book come out?
It just came out
this year?
Last month. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
congratulations. Boy, you're prolific. The poetry and like an actual book, like a self-help book, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay. And so we're speaking with Zak Mucha, who is a psychoanalyst and a poet, and we're graced with his presence here. If you'd like to see him, he will be featured at the Beach Poets on Sunday at 2:30 as hosted by Chiron Kingfish. So come out and check out some of his work in the reel along with Chiron. Chiron, do you have something that you would like to share?
A poem?
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Okay, which one? I really enjoy this conversation.
Do you have something more cheerful than mine?
No, mine's going to deal with trauma too.
Yours is pretty. Yeah,
mine's going to deal with trauma. But you said something and earlier you were talking about how, right, like we were talking about the positive and like not recognizing you're uncomfortable and not wanting to feel those uncomfortable feelings. And so that's, I mean, to me, it seems like that's how you would repeat it, because then you're not learning from the discomfort. You're not learning from the pain, right? It hurts when we stub our toe, and then we hopefully, remember that there's that stair that sticks out that way,
Yeah. I mean, we do it with physical pain. We're fine about it. If I slam my hand in the car door, I don't stand there saying, well, this really shouldn't bother me.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so I think for a long time, I was, maybe trying to not let certain things bother me, and maybe people told me those things shouldn't bother you.
Exactly.
Or, all of this, and I think that both of those things, and somebody telling you calm down when you're not necessarily calm, all of those things, they're all invalidating.
Sure.
They all invalidate the experience that I'm trying to, the feeling that I'm trying to express, or maybe trying to deny in myself. But either I'm doing it to myself or other people are invalidating me.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, by experiencing your pain and documenting it through, for me, it's poetry, that's self-validating.
Mm-hmm.
And then through self-validating, actually, it's a roadmap or a blueprint to get out of it.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
You just summarized the whole book.
Nice.
Yeah. I mean, and you reminded me, I knew a Marine Corps vet, the idea of calm down. This guy told me, every time I go to the VA, I end up yelling at people, no, you need to calm up.
All right, I can hear the band getting ready in the next room. It's going to be a fun jamming time here at the Wizard. So you have a poem here to share with us, Chiron.
Okay, yeah, I'll do one. Is this one?
So tomorrow,
go ahead.
You'll be able to see both Zak Mucha and Chiron Kingfish on Greenleaf, just Greenleaf in the lake by the Blue Jay Cafe. There will be a blue tent, no sign. Just look for cool people sitting in a circle, being peaceful and reading poetry to each other. Ooh, exciting! In the real FaceTime, yeah. 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. And now, Chiron, you ready?
Yeah, okay. Well, I was trying to find a specific one, and I lost it because I'm not organized. So I can give you my. Yeah, see, you want me
Okay.
to, it's okay. It's okay. Come out to the Beach Poets, and I'll share my poetry there.
There you go. Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you both. There is a piece of your work. If I can
got it.
grab your book. Oh my goodness! That we were reading the other day, and I just want to. Do you mind if I read something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would that be cool?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because it's really powerful. So you're such a powerful writer. Oh, this one, the Poor Robin Clean one. Oy, 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 oy. Pick Poor Robin Clean makes me think of Sinners. It's kind of funny that they had that song come up in Sinners, and I'm sure that you'd written the poem already.
The Geechee Wiley song.
Yeah. So, Geechee Wiley. Is that how you say it? Geechee Wiley?
I probably pronounced it incorrectly.
Slit her second husband's throat. Really? In Houston, 1 year after she recorded Last Kind Word Blues up in Wisconsin and posed for her partner, Elvie. 1 foot on the running board like Bonnie Parker, legs open, defiant, between a hem and high-heeled boots before she slipped off like a ghost in the seams, undocumented for 6 songs buried in a static of misheard lines of Gnostic praise. Either my babe or my face, for what she can see across the wide river, and her father's last words blurred just where to send his body if the Germans killed him in the war. Born 24th of 25 children. Without the day marked by laws, Sonny Liston heard Geechee? Chanting beneath the dirt when he was in the fields. Hornets drowned out the chant in the ring. Patterson couldn't look him in the eye and fell, accepting the punches that could cause cancer. He came up relieved, the pressure gone, snuck out of Comiskey in a fake beard, and Liston went home to an empty apartment terminal as the new champ. An empty airport terminal as the new champ. Knowing JFK would set the dogs out on him rather than shake his hand. He would always be the stick-up man wearing yellow plaid and no mask, with swollen hands of leathered cement and wrists thick with blood as he skips rope to night train on repeat. Born dead, Sonny wanted them to know how he felt. But even when he won, they got to return to life. In Las Vegas, the chanting was replaced by the sound of one freight train clicking heavy and slow. The last Pullman porters heard the lines sung between the cars coming up from the tracks, those last kind words, a debt and a legacy that cannot be paid off or accepted cleanly by parent or child. Called from Saturn to be reborn, Sun Ra returned with a cosmology to be mimeographed and distributed between sets, instructions for a better planet and a gospel for poor Charles. Oh, Sun Ra. I love Sun Ra.
Me too.
Yeah, Sun Ra. In fact, I grabbed Sun Ra was speaking to me. It's so funny. So we'll play a little Sun Ra to leave. Is there anything you'd like to add? Where can we find you? You said you're at zakmucha.com. Is that right?
Yeah, that's a fair place to find me.
ZAKMUCHA. And we're going to do a little Sun Ra. We're going to listen to This Is How I Feel by Sun Ra. You're listening to WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM.